They're searching for the other suspect in Watertown, Massachusetts. And we're going to be joining live coverage with the Boston PD is actually conducting a news conference, and that's what we're going to be joining right now.
We've been listening to another news conference, the second of the morning, from police officials and other officials in Watertown this morning, where the still unfolding drama, the overnight drama that began around midnight last night, is continuing this morning. To recap some of what they just said, for those of you who are just arising this morning and need to get to work, don't be in any rush, because buses, subways, the entire MBTA system suspended today because of this search that's underway in the Watertown area for what is believed to be one of the two suspects in the Boston Marathon bombing on Monday. The second suspect, or rather the first suspect, they're looking for the second suspect. One of the suspects was killed overnight in a violent confrontation with police. We heard from Kurt Swartz of the Undersecretary of Homeland Security and Emergency Management for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, who basically told people that if you're at a bus stop or at a subway stop this morning, go home. If you live in Watertown, Newton, Belmont, Cambridge, Alston, Brighton, stay home. Don't go out. We heard Edward DeVoe, the chief of the Watertown Police Department this morning, saying that there would be no vehicle traffic allowed in Watertown this morning, that businesses in Watertown were advised or ordered to stay closed today because of the search that's going on there for this second suspect. And we do know that one of the suspects, or a person that authorities are describing as one of the suspects, was killed overnight in a confrontation with police. The search is on this morning in Watertown, with hundreds of police officers heavily armed in Watertown for the second suspect. They simply do not know exactly where this suspect is. They believe that he's in Watertown, but to make sure, to ensure public safety as best they can, they're telling people to stay indoors, not to answer their door unless they're looking at a uniformed police officer. And if you're one of the few people who are in their cars this morning in the area, don't pick anyone up unless it is, as we say, a uniformed police officer, because this suspect has been described by authorities this morning as armed and dangerous and a terrorist. Martha Beeminger.
So, Bob, I really heard the state police and others stepping up the seriousness of this situation right now, calling it grave, expanding the territory in which they're asking residents to stay inside. And just to repeat that list, it's Watertown, Newton, Waltham, Belmont, Cambridge, and the Alston-Brighton area. If you live in those neighborhoods, those cities and towns, do not leave your house this morning, is the word from police. It is really serious.
Yeah, that's right. And also no businesses, obviously, in Watertown. A section of Watertown completely closed off. They're saying employees don't try to go to work in that area, and you need to cooperate. There will be no vehicle traffic allowed in or out of Watertown, according to the Watertown police chief. We're also getting word from one of our coworkers here who was on an MBTA train from Attleboro into Boston that the train was stopped in Mansfield and everyone was ordered off the train, and there they are in Mansfield.
So there we are. We know the MBTA system is suspended today, and now that seems to indicate that the commuter rail is going to be stopped today as well.
And that's what it looks like, at least according to a report from our colleague who is now in Mansfield, who was en route from Attleboro to Boston today. So I think it's a very, very serious situation. There's a lot of chaos out there, and they're looking for the suspect, described as suspect number 2 in the Boston Marathon bombing. What it appears at this point is that suspect number 1 was killed in a police shootout overnight, but suspect number 2 is described as armed, very dangerous, and this search is affecting various suburbs of Boston where residents are being asked to stay inside, no vehicle traffic allowed in Watertown, and police are conducting what they're saying is a very active search for this suspect number 2.
All right, in a moment we're going to hear from WBUR's Alex Ashlock, who was at the news conference that just concluded in Watertown. But first, to underline the seriousness of what was said this morning, let's hear again a soundbite from that news conference. Here is Kurt Swartz, the Massachusetts Undersecretary for Homeland Security.
We are speaking to the residents of Watertown, Newton, Waltham, Belmont, Cambridge, and the Alston-Brighton neighborhoods of Boston. To those people, we are asking you to stay indoors, to stay in your homes for the time being. We are asking businesses in those areas to please cooperate and not open today.